Is Iran's supreme leader inadvertently driving a wedge between President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu, creating new strains in their once rock-solid partnership? As Iran's attacks intensify, Trump and Netanyahu now appear divided over how to move forward, exposing deep differences in their overall war strategy. A visibly cautious Trump has reportedly turned down Netanyahu's controversial proposal to trigger regime change in Iran, labeling the plan as dangerously sinister. US President Donald Trump reportedly rejected a proposal put forward by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu last week, according to a Channel 12 report. Netanyahu's proposal called on the United States to encourage the Iranian public to rise up, take to the streets, and overthrow their government amid the ongoing war. The reported discussion between the two leaders took place on March 16, shortly after the assassination of senior Iranian official Ali Larijani. During the meeting, Netanyahu is said to have told Trump that the Iranian regime was in complete disarray and vulnerable to internal unrest. The Israeli Prime Minister allegedly argued that this was the ideal moment to further destabilize Iran and push for regime change through public uprising. Trump, however, expressed hesitation, warning that such a move could spiral into widespread bloodshed and humanitarian catastrophe inside Iran. He reportedly pointed to how Iran's Revolutionary Guard had brutally suppressed protesters during earlier demonstrations as a warning of what might follow. Senior officials later concluded that the Iranian public remained too fearful and subdued under government control to mount an effective revolt. Meanwhile, Trump publicly stated that Iran wanted to make a deal so badly, but feared taking the first step amid the escalating tensions.
When I tell you we're winning so big, nobody's ever seen anything like we're doing in the Middle East with Iran. And they are negotiating, by the way, and they want to make a deal so badly, but they're afraid to say it because they figure they'll be killed by their own people. They're also afraid they'll be killed by us. There's never been a head of a country that wanted that job less than being the head of Iran. I don't want it. We listen to some of the things they say. We hear them very clearly. They say, I don't want it. We'd like to make you the next supreme leader. No, thank you. I don't want it. But I actually thought when I went on this excursion, as I call it, excursion into hell, excursion into a terrible place, when I went on to do something that for 47 years should have been done by any of the other presidents, and you heard numerous of them said they wished they did it, but they didn't have the guts to do it. We had no choice. But I thought it would be much worse. I thought that the energy prices, oil price would go up higher. I thought the stock market would go somewhat lower. But it didn't matter to me. It's short term. What we had to do is get rid of the cancer. We had to cut out the cancer. The cancer was Iran with a nuclear weapon. And we've cut it out. Now we're going to finish it off.
No negotiations have taken place so far. I state firmly that there has been no negotiation or dialogue with the American side. However, in recent days the American side has begun sending various messages through different intermediaries. Messages being conveyed through our friendly countries, and us responding by stating our positions or issuing the necessary warnings, is not called negotiation or dialogue. It is simply an exchange of messages through our friends. They have put forward some ideas. I saw in one or two places that it was described as a 15-point plan, but these were presented as various proposals. All of them have been conveyed to the country's senior authorities, and if it becomes necessary to take a position, that will certainly be decided. For now, our policy is to continue resisting and to continue defending the country. At present we have no intention of negotiating, and no negotiations have taken place.
At least 30,000 protesters have been killed across Iran amid months of violent unrest, according to a Time magazine report published in January 2026. The wave of demonstrations, initially launched by shopkeepers and university students, erupted in response to Iran's rapidly collapsing economy and soaring living costs. Observers described the uprising as one of the most significant challenges to the country's clerical leadership since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, shaking the regime's grip on power. US and Israeli forces launched a joint war against Iran on February 28, in a dramatic operation that culminated in the killing of Iran's supreme leader and triggered a massive regional backlash. Since that moment, Iran has been hitting back hard, targeting Israel, U.S. military bases and embassies, as well as Washington's Arab allies across the Middle East in a widening campaign of retaliation. Tehran's forces have struck airports, ports, vital oil facilities, and major commercial hubs across the Gulf, aiming to disrupt economic activity and send a clear signal about the cost of war. Iran has also moved to blockade the Strait of Hormuz, a choke point that handles around 1/5 of global energy trade, pushing the world's oil lifeline into unprecedented danger. These attacks have only reinforced deep-seated Arab fears that Iran can hold regional and global energy flows hostage whenever tensions flare, leaving their economies and security at constant risk.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.